Greetings and salutations, I'm Dexter from Research Stripped, and in this episode we'll be covering research conducted by, I'm going to slaughter their names, Siasi and Civici, entitled The Effect of Adult Entertainment Establishments on Sex Crime, Evidence from New York City, which was published in 2018. I came upon this article from an ACE email that summarized the study. For those of you who don't know, ACE or ACE stands for the Association of Club Executives, and it is a consortium of club owners that are interested in legislation and the laws surrounding the strip club industry. Here, we will go a bit deeper into the study. When it comes to the effects of opening an adult club on the surrounding community, there are two opinions on the matter. The first is sex crimes will increase because you get those males all riled up inside the club and then release them on the community. In addition to that, other crimes such as drug trafficking will also increase because, dancers need their meth, the bouncers need their roids, the patrons need whatever the patrons shove into their bodies. Since this bare legal den of depravity is a blight on the community by increasing the crime rates, it also decreases the values of the houses and the surrounding businesses in the area. This is the basis of the secondary effects doctrine. In the courts, exotic dancing is protected as freedom of expression and freedom of speech, meaning that government officials cannot outright ban it. What they can do is say that such a business would have adverse effects on the surrounding community by decreasing the value of houses and also increasing the crime rate. Officials are now able to create zoning laws, regulate the businesses more, and thereby creating an unnecessary burden and indirectly censoring these businesses. Technically, these government officials must show that secondary effects would have an effect on the community, but usually this evidence is relied upon assumptions and what other communities have done. For more detailed explanation of secondary effects doctrine, I highly recommend fire.org's article on the subject, which is linked down below. The other opinion is that if these possible sex offenders have a safe outlet for their nasty urges, sex crimes would decrease in the surrounding community. If a pervert can safely be ground upon by a beautiful half-naked woman, why risk arrest by going after and groping an overweight housewife? This is an oversimplification, but it covers the gist of the reason behind it. The authors present these ideas in the following. While these clubs and services may reduce sex crimes if individuals use them instead of committing sex crimes, they may increase sex crimes if they reinforce the view of women as objects, leading to more violence against them. Again, both sides of the argument are offered, and hopefully this research will show data that affirms one side or the other. The authors use three sources of information to draw their conclusions. The first is New York City's stop and frisk data set. No matter what you think about stop and frisk, it does provide valuable data about crime throughout New York City. This research uses it as a baseline to follow the trends of sex crimes for a long period of time. They acknowledge that it does not catch all crimes, but it does lay a foundation for their research. And the time that they included in the data was from 1 January 2004 to 30 June 2012. The use of another data set covering crime, which is NYPD's complaint data historic, which information isn't as easy to use as a stop and frisk data set, but it allows the authors to compare the two in order to test the robustness of their conclusions. The final data set was obtained by using New York City's infamous bureaucracy to their advantage. The researchers were able to cull data from various sources and find out the opening and closing of each adult entertainment establishment. The goal of the authors was to limit the amount of error in their assessment. Removing all error is impossible, but by using cross-checking and statistical modeling, their impact can be limited. Using the above data, researchers also presented variables that affect sex crimes, including location, season, day of the week, and even time of the day. Overall, I'm quite pleased with the robustness of the data. This paper also took pains to try to pin holes in their own arguments, which further improves the results. And with the information presented, other research can duplicate the work, which is a hallmark of good research. So, what were the results? The authors state, the adult entertainment businesses can reduce sex crimes by 13% per day per precinct. This result is robust to different specifications and to using different data sets to measure sex crimes. Moreover, effects are persistent over time, and there is no evidence of the existence of pre-trends. Future openings of adult entertainment establishments have no effect on sex crimes. Overall, disproving one of the main arguments in secondary effects doctrine. And to strengthen the results, the authors also presented three reasons why there could be a reduction in sex crime. The first explanation could be that when an adult entertainment establishment opens, police increase are present because of that opening. But if this were the case, then crimes other than sex crimes would decrease at the same rate and timing as sex crimes, but the data doesn't support this. The next explanation is that there's a reduction in potential victims, specifically prostitutes. They might either start working at that establishment or move away from that establishment because of the competition provided by that establishment. Both of these reasons are either disproved or not supported by the data. The final explanation that is either supported by or at least cannot be disproven by the data is that there is a reduction in potential criminals. This basically is different, but that there is a relationship in the lowering of sex crimes and the time of day. So at 6 a.m. to noon, there is no change in the amount of sex crimes occurring. But between 6 p.m. and midnight, when the club is open, there is an actual decrease in sex crimes occurring. To summarize this research, adult clubs opening may decrease the sex crimes in the surrounding area, possibly because of potential criminals using the club as a safe alternative, and also that clubs have no effect on other crimes. This is a rather well-crafted research design, but there are a couple of issues that need to be corrected before this proves that strip clubs decrease the amount of sex crimes surrounding each establishment. The first is the precision of the locations. The research went to the precinct level, of which there are 77 in New York City. What would have helped and be more beneficial to the club owners is having it at a more precise level, say 1,000 meters or 1,000 yards of the club. Another aspect is that case studies about the secondary effects doctrine are not mentioned, such as Sioux City, Iowa versus Dr. John's, whereby the city put forward that the crimes increased from a rate of 7.8 to 22.4 after the store opened within 500 feet of the store. The authors also could have gone into the criminological theory behind secondary effects doctrine. Finally, although impossible for the authors to do so, but it must be pointed out that there is no control area or the testing of a null hypothesis. This leaves open the argument that the changes in sex crimes could just be part of an overall trend. Despite these issues, I believe that the research is beneficial in disproving the secondary effects doctrine and the regulations that it supports. Let us know if you'd like us to do more of a deep dive into the secondary effects doctrine, and as usual, the links are provided down below for this paper and for any of the sources we might have used. And for further information, please check out researcherstrip.com, or if you want to connect, check us out on social media. And with that, goodbye.